Listen, you think this is just another day, but it's not. Right now, you're in the middle of a test that will decide your future. And if you fail it, you're going to lose something you can't get back. But if you pass, everything changes. Let me show you exactly what's happening before it's too late. Life got a funny way of putting you in situations where it's not about what's happening to you. It's about what's being revealed in you. Sometimes before you step into your next blessing, you got to go through a little pop quiz from the universe.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a test with your name on it. And this test ain't graded on paper. It's graded on your patience, your self-respect, and your ability to stand on your worth without shaking. Now, here's what you got to understand. When you're being tested, the world will throw you situations that poke every button you got. Old habits will start calling your name. Temptations will start showing up looking real shiny and familiar. And the question is, will you bite or will you stand? Because passing this test ain't about what you can get. It's about proving you've grown past what used to break you. You ever notice how life doesn't let you skip lessons? If you didn't learn it the first time, it'll circle back. Same type of energy, different day. And you're sitting there thinking, why am I going through this again? Simple, because you didn't pass last time. And the universe ain't giving you no diploma until you get this right. This is the part where you show you're not desperate for crumbs, when you know you're a whole bakery. This is the part where you look at something you used to run after, and now you walk right past it without flinching. Passing the test means keeping your mouth shut when you want to clap back. It means choosing peace when drama's trying to drag you in. It means walking away when every part of your ego wants to prove a point. And the hardest part, doing it with a smile, because you know deep down you're playing the long game. You see, real growth ain't loud. It's quiet strength. It's the discipline to not chase what's not chasing you. It's the confidence to know that what's meant for you ain't going to need you to beg, bend, or break yourself. You're not auditioning for a role in someone else's life. You are the show. And if someone wants to see the performance, baby, they can buy a ticket and wait for the next season. But let me tell you something. The moment you pass this test, everything shifts. Doors open that were locked before. Opportunities show up that you couldn't even imagine. And suddenly you're standing in a place where you realize you didn't just pass the test. You outgrew it. And when you outgrow a test, you never have to take it again. Life's tests reveal growth, not weakness. Because when challenges show up, they aren't there just to knock you down. They're there to pull out the truth of who you've become over the years, every single trial, every single struggle, every heartbreak, every disappointment. They all stack up to shape your character. And when you're facing a new situation, it's not about proving to the world that you can handle it. It's about proving to yourself that you've leveled up from the last time life tried you. See, people think when something hard happens, it's a sign they're failing or that they've messed up somewhere along the way. But no, sometimes the hardest battles are confirmation that you're actually ready for the next stage. You can't be promoted without being tested. You can't claim growth without life asking you to demonstrate it. So when something comes out of nowhere to shake you, don't just see it as an attack. See it as a mirror showing you exactly how far you've come, maybe before you would have fallen apart, maybe before you would have reacted out of anger, maybe before you would have doubted yourself so bad that you talked yourself out of your own blessings. But now you stand different. Now you've got scars that turned into armor, and every scar is proof that you didn't just survive, you learned, you adapted, you became sharper, you became wiser. So when life throws you a curveball now, it's not just a test to see if you can hit it. It's a test to see if you can stay calm in the batter's box, because growth is not measured in how loud you win. It's measured in how gracefully you handle the pressure, how steady you can stand when the wind tries to push you off balance. And sometimes it's not even the big moments. It's the little things that reveal growth. The phone call you choose not to answer, the text you don't send, the argument you walk away from before it starts. These moments seem small, but they are giant victories in the journey of becoming stronger. because strength isn't always swinging back. Sometimes strength is smiling, holding your head high, and keeping it moving when your old self would have been trapped in the mess. When life tests you, it's not interested in your excuses. It's looking for evidence that you've broken patterns that used to keep you stuck, evidence that you've replaced impulsive reactions with intentional actions, evidence that you've learned how to protect your peace at all costs. Every test is really just a moment of truth. And here's the thing, you can't fake growth. You can't pretend to have matured. You can talk the talk all day long, but life's tests will pull the real you out. You can post all the motivational quotes you want. You can tell everybody you've changed, but the real proof comes when you're faced with the same kind of pressure that used to control you, and this time you respond differently. You carry yourself differently. You think differently. That's when you know it's not weakness you're seeing in yourself. It's strength being revealed. It's confidence being built. It's resilience showing up in your decisions. And the more you pass those moments, the more you start realizing that life has been shaping you for something bigger than the thing that's in front of you right now. The test is never really about the situation. It's about the version of you that's going to walk out of it. The version of you that's a little more patient, a little more disciplined, a little more unstoppable. And every time you pass, you get closer to that version, because tests don't come to embarrass you. They come to prepare you. They come to strip away what's holding you back so you can step into the next chapter with the kind of strength you never knew you had. And when you start seeing it like that, you realize these tests aren't punishments. They're opportunities to prove to yourself that you are not who you used to be, and that the growth you prayed for is finally showing up in the way you carry yourself, in the way you speak, in the way you think, in the way you decide. And that is the real blessing that comes from being tested in the first place. Temptations return to check your progress, because the universe has a way of sending familiar situations back into your life just to see if you're truly different from who you used to be. And it's almost like the moment you start walking in your strength, old doors you thought were closed forever suddenly crack open again. The same type of people, the same type of distractions, the same offers that used to get you every single time will start showing up looking like they've been upgraded. But underneath, it's the same test wearing a new outfit. The temptation isn't always there to harm you. Sometimes it's there to highlight whether you've outgrown what once had a hold on you. And you'll notice it happens right when you're doing better, right when you're building momentum, right when you've been focused on your goals. Here comes something that used to pull you off track, smiling at you, calling your name, reminding you of the comfort you used to run to. And this is where a lot of people slip, because temptation doesn't come waving a red flag. It comes in disguise. It comes dressed in nostalgia. It comes wrapped in memories. It comes with just enough sweetness to make you forget the bitterness it left last time. And if you haven't really healed or grown, you'll start telling yourself little lies like, it's different now. Or maybe I can handle it this time, when deep down you know it's the same pattern knocking on your door. The truth is, temptation is less about the thing being offered and more about the version of you that shows up to face it. The old you might have jumped at the opportunity, thinking it was the answer, but the evolved you knows that not every door that opens is meant to be walked through. Not every smile is safe. Not every chance is worth taking. The real progress shows when you can look at something that once had power over you and walk away without feeling like you lost anything. And the crazy part is, the more you turn away from what no longer serves you, the more power you take back. It's like every no you say to the wrong thing becomes a yes to the right thing, and temptation loses its grip on you when you start realizing you're not the same person who fell for it before. Sometimes the temptation isn't even a person or a situation. It can be a habit, a comfort zone, a way of thinking that kept you stuck for years. And just when you think you've beat it, life will give you a day where you're tired, vulnerable, and there it is again, waiting to see if you'll slip back into it. And that's when you have to remind yourself why you started growing in the first place, why you left that behind, why it no longer fits the future you're building. Because progress is not proven in the easy days, it's proven in the hard days, the tempting days, the days where you have to fight the urge to go backwards. And the beautiful thing is, the more times you resist, the lighter you feel, the freer you become, and you start realizing that temptation is nothing but a shadow and only has power if you step into it. And the longer you keep walking in your light, the weaker that shadow gets. So when temptation returns, it's not a sign you failed. It's a sign you're on the edge of leveling up. It's life's way of saying, let me just make sure you're really ready for what's next. And if you can keep your eyes forward, if you can remember how much it cost you the last time you gave in, if you can hold on to your self-respect tighter than you hold on to old comfort, you'll start passing these checkpoints one by one, and before you know it, the very things that used to tempt you will feel small compared to the future you're chasing. And that's when you'll know for sure that the progress you've made is real, solid, and unshakable, because you proved it in the face of what used to own you. You can't skip lessons you haven't learned, because life has this way of circling you right back to the same kind of situation until you finally understand what it's trying to teach you. You can run from it, you can ignore it, you can distract yourself with new surroundings or new people. But the core lesson will always follow you until it becomes part of who you are. Sometimes you think you've moved past something just because time has gone by, but time alone doesn't teach you anything. It's what you do with that time. It's how you reflect. It's how you decide to act differently next time. And if you don't, you'll find yourself repeating the same cycles, dealing with the same frustrations, wondering why nothing changes. The truth is, nothing changes until you do, and change doesn't happen by accident. It happens by consciously choosing to respond differently when you're faced with the same challenge. Every lesson in life is like a locked door, and you can't move to the next hallway until you've found the key. And that key is always tied to growth, patience, self-awareness, forgiveness, discipline, or some other part of yourself that you haven't fully developed yet. It's like the universe is saying, you can't take shortcuts on this part of the journey, because shortcuts might get you somewhere faster, but they won't prepare you to stay there. And that's why people who skip the hard work end up right back at the starting line. If you avoid the lesson, you avoid the growth. And if you avoid the growth, you avoid the life you say you want. Sometimes the lesson is about setting boundaries. Sometimes it's about knowing when to walk away. Sometimes it's about holding your tongue when your pride wants to speak. And the thing is, the lesson will keep showing up in different forms until you finally pass it. You might get it from a relationship, then from a friendship, then from a job, but underneath, it's the same root issue that's being tested. And here's the part that stings. The test doesn't care how tired you are. It doesn't care if you think you've been through enough. It only cares whether you've mastered what it's trying to teach, because the next level of your life requires skills you can't fake. If you haven't learned to be patient, you'll get situations that force you to wait. If you haven't learned to be strong, you'll get situations that demand resilience. If you haven't learned to be honest with yourself, you'll get situations that expose the lies you've been telling. And yes, it can feel unfair. It can feel like you're being punished. But the truth is, you're being prepared for the kind of blessings that need a stronger, wiser, more grounded version of you. And when you start to realize that the lesson stops feeling like an enemy and starts feeling like a guide, the moment you finally understand and apply what it's been trying to teach you, that particular test disappears from your life. You stop attracting the same kind of situations. You stop repeating the same kind of pain because you've elevated past it. And that's the thing. Once you truly learn something, it's yours forever. No one can take it from you. No circumstance can unteach it. It becomes part of how you see the world and how you move in it. And from there, you're ready for bigger challenges, bigger opportunities, and bigger rewards. But if you keep running, if you keep ignoring what needs to be fixed, you'll find yourself living the same year over and over, calling it growth when it's really just motion. So when something you thought you escaped shows up again, don't roll your eyes. Don't throw your hands up. Ask yourself, what am I supposed to learn this time? And lean into it, because the sooner you learn it, the sooner you're free from it. And the sooner you're free, the sooner you can step into the life you've been trying to build without carrying the weight of unfinished lessons on your back. Self-control speaks louder than reaction, because in the heat of the moment, anybody can explode, anybody can fire back, anybody can match energy when they feel provoked. But it takes a whole different level of strength to hold yourself steady, to keep your mouth closed when you have 1,000 things you could say, to keep your hands still when everything in you wants to make a move. Self-control is not weakness. It's power on a leash. It's knowing you have the ability to do something, but choosing not to because you understand the cost. And the truth is, life will constantly give you opportunities to prove whether you can stay calm under pressure. People will test you on purpose. Some will poke at you just to see if they can get a reaction. And if you take the bait, you give away your power every single time. The loudest thing in the room is not always the strongest. Sometimes the most dangerous, most respected person is the one who doesn't flinch, who doesn't show their cards, who doesn't let the other side dictate their moves. Self-control is about mastering your emotions so they don't master you. Because when you let your feelings run the show, you make choices in seconds that can cost you for years. You send that message you can't unsend. You say those words you can't take back. You make that decision that closes a door you needed open, and later, when the storm in your chest settles, you're left cleaning up a mess you could have avoided. Self-control is the discipline to pause, to breathe, to think 3 steps ahead before you act. It's realizing that not every situation deserves your energy. Not every insult needs a comeback. Not every challenge requires you to prove yourself. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stay silent and let the noise burn itself out. Because silence doesn't mean you're weak. Silence means you're in control. It means you've decided that your peace is worth more than being right in the moment. And when you practice that, people notice. They notice you can't be manipulated like before. They notice they can't pull you into chaos so easily. They notice that you move different now. Calmer, sharper, harder to read, harder to rattle, and that changes the way the world treats you. Self-control builds respect, not just from others, but from yourself. Because every time you resist the urge to react recklessly, you prove to yourself that you're not at the mercy of your emotions. You're driving them. You're steering the situation instead of letting it steer you. And that's a skill that will protect you in every area of life, in relationships, in business, in your personal growth, because opportunities are often lost in moments of bad reaction, but they are gained in moments of restraint. When you hold back, you create space for clarity, for better decisions, for outcomes that work in your favor instead of against you. And here's the thing about self-control. It's not built in easy moments. It's built in the moments that make your blood boil. In the moments where you feel disrespected, in the moments where your pride is on the line, that's where you either give in to your impulses or you rise above them. And every time you choose to rise above, you make it easier the next time, because self-control is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The stronger it gets, the more natural it becomes, and eventually reacting with patience becomes your default instead of exploding without thought. People who master self-control win battles before they even start, because they're not distracted by proving themselves to the wrong audience. They're focused on the bigger picture. They know when to engage and when to walk away. They know that sometimes the best revenge is living well and not giving the other side the satisfaction of seeing you lose your cool. And that's the thing most people don't realize. Your reaction tells the world how much control you have over yourself. And when you show that nothing and no one can pull you out of character, you're not just winning in that moment. You're winning in life. A true worth means no chasing or begging, because the moment you start running after something that isn't running after you, you've already told yourself a story that you're not enough as you are, Chasing puts you in a position where you're constantly proving instead of simply being. And when you're proving, you're performing for approval that may never even come. Worth isn't about convincing anyone to see it. It's about knowing it so deeply that whether they notice or not, it doesn't shake you. The truth is, if something or someone values you, you won't have to beg for their time. You won't have to chase down their attention. You won't have to twist yourself into shapes just to be noticed. Because real value is recognized without you having to shout it. And when you really understand that, you start moving differently. You stop calling when you're the only one calling. You stop pouring into connections where you're the only one doing the work. You stop giving discounts on your soul just so you can keep a seat at a table that was never set for you. Chasing and begging take energy from you that could be used to build yourself, to grow, to attract the things that actually belong to you. And every time you choose to stand still instead of running after what's walking away, you teach yourself that your dignity matters more than their approval. Worth shows up in the boundaries you set, in the standards you keep, in the way you refuse to settle for half love, half effort, half respect. It shows up in the way you can walk away from something even when your feelings are still involved, because you understand that love, opportunity, and respect that come with conditions aren't worth the cost. When you beg, you hand your power over. You put your happiness in someone else's pocket and hope they don't drop it. When you chase, you agree to be the one doing all the work while the other side gets to decide whether you matter. And that's not balance. That's desperation dressed as persistence. Real worth is quiet. It's knowing you're the prize and not needing anyone to clap for you to believe it. It's being okay with missing out on something that makes you shrink. It's refusing to sit in rooms where your presence is tolerated instead of celebrated. And the thing is, the more you live in your worth, the more you naturally attract people and opportunities that see it without you having to scream it. Because like energy finds like energy, when you carry yourself with self-respect, you draw in people who respect you. When you carry yourself with confidence, you draw in people who see your value without you having to explain it. And when you stop chasing, you free yourself from the exhaustion of trying to be enough for people who have already decided they don't want to see you. You get your time back. You get your peace back. You get your clarity back. And you start realizing that anything you have to beg for isn't worth having. Anything you have to constantly chase will drain you until there's nothing left. The right opportunities, the right relationships, the right blessings, they don't require you to run yourself into the ground to keep them. They meet you halfway. They match your effort. They respect your boundaries. And if they don't, you have to be willing to let them go without turning back, because holding on to your worth means you understand that what leaves your life is never meant to define you. What stays is never meant to control you, and what's coming will never require you to lose yourself to keep it. The minute you decide you will not chase, you will not beg, you will not compromise your dignity for a seat at the wrong table, you open the door for something far better to take its place. And that's when life starts matching your standards instead of your fears. Passing the test changes the game forever, because the moment you prove to yourself that you can handle what used to break you, you're no longer playing from the same level you started on. You stop seeing yourself as someone who's just trying to survive and start seeing yourself as someone who can thrive, someone who can stand in the middle of pressure and still think clearly, still move with intention, still choose what's right over what's easy. Passing the test is not just about getting through a situation. It's about becoming the kind of person who can handle what comes next. And that shift changes everything, because life won't throw you the same old lessons once you've mastered them. It will trust you with new opportunities, bigger responsibilities, deeper connections. And when you've passed a test, you walk differently. You carry yourself with a quiet confidence, not the loud, show-off kind, but the type that comes from knowing you've earned your strength through the fire. You start to notice that things that used to shake you don't even touch you anymore. Words that once cut deep barely scratch the surface. situations that used to keep you up at night don't even steal your peace because you've proven you can stand. And when you've proven that to yourself, you stop doubting whether you can make it through the next storm. You already know you can. Passing the test changes how you make decisions because you're no longer reacting from fear or insecurity. You're moving from wisdom and experience. You've seen what happens when you stay true to yourself, and now you're addicted to that kind of victory. Not the kind that comes from winning against other people, but the kind that comes from winning against your old patterns, your old triggers, your old self. Passing the test changes who you attract because you no longer radiate the same energy you did when you were unsure of your worth. You no longer entertain situations that drain you. You no longer invite chaos into your space. You've learned that peace is worth protecting at all costs, and that kind of energy is magnetic to the right people, the right opportunities, the right blessings. You stop being available for distractions, and because of that, you naturally start to rise. And it's not that life stops being challenging, it's that your perspective shifts. You see challenges as stepping stones instead of stumbling blocks. You see delays as preparation instead of punishment. You see closed doors as redirection instead of rejection. And that mindset keeps you moving forward no matter what comes. Passing the test also changes your relationship with yourself. You start trusting your own judgment more. You start speaking to yourself with more kindness. You stop beating yourself up over small mistakes because you know one wrong move doesn't erase the progress you've made. You start treating yourself like someone you're proud of, and that changes the tone of your entire life. And the truth is, once you've passed a test, you can never go back to being who you were before it. The growth is permanent. The wisdom is yours. The strength is built into you now, and nobody can take that away. Even if new challenges come, even if new storms hit, you walk into them with the knowledge that you've been tested before and you came out better. And that gives you a sense of unshakable confidence because now you understand the game isn't about avoiding tests. It's about being ready for them. Knowing that every time you pass one, you level up in ways you can't even imagine. You stop fearing the process because you've seen the reward. And that reward is not just what you get, it's who you become in the process. And when you reach that place, you realize that the real victory is not just passing the test. It's the fact that you'll never have to take that same one again